There's a strange idea floating around out there. It says that as we get older, we need less food, smaller portions, lighter meals, less of everything. And for one specific nutrient, that advice isn't just wrong, it's dangerous. Because the science shows that as time passes on a calendar, your body actually needs more of this nutrient, not less. And most older adults are getting far too little of it, which quietly costs them their strength, their independence, and their resilience. What if the very thing you were told to cut back on is the thing that can help you be strong for decades? Today on the Personalized Fitness Podcast. Welcome to the Personalized Fitness Podcast. I'm Garrett Williamson. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm president of Personalized Fitness, and as always, if you have questions about today's topics, suggestions for future shows, or would like information about personalized fitness, we'd love to hear from you. Call us area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can find us on Facebook at Personalized Fitness or follow us on X at Team PE. As always, check out our website, personalizedfitness.com. Last week, we talked about protecting your muscle, the tissue of independence. Today, we're talking about the raw material your body uses to build and defend that muscle, protein. And I want to be clear, I want to clear up one of the most harmful misunderstandings in all of nutrition. The myth is simple. Older adults need less protein because they're less active. Sounds reasonable. You're moving a little less, so you must need a little less, right? But this gets the biology exactly backwards. As time passes, our bodies become less efficient at using the protein we eat. Scientists call it anabolic resistance. In plain terms, an older body has to work harder to turn a meal into muscle. So it needs more raw material to get the same result, not less. And the reason we have this effect happen is because of how we treated our fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset to get to this point. But let's talk real numbers. The official minimum, the amount set decades ago just to prevent deficiency, is quite low. About 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. But that number was designed to keep you from getting sick, not to keep you strong. Researchers who study aging and muscle now recommend considerably more for older adults, often in the range of 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram. That can be nearly double the old minimum. And it may seem high for people in their 30s, 40s, 50s. The reason being is because in our 30s, 40s, and 50s, we were depleting our protein. It's not how much you eat in a day. It's how much you eat at each meal. An aging body responds best to a solid dose of protein at once, roughly the amount in a good serving of eggs, fish, chicken, or Greek yogurt. Spread it across your day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, not saved up for one big evening meal. All right, just quickly, if you have any questions about today's show, would like information about personalized fitness, or have a topic you'd like us to discuss in a future podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Call us area code 251-278-3343. Find us on Facebook at Personalized Fitness, or follow us on X at Team PE. And don't forget to watch out for my upcoming book, The Lie of Age, where we explore why ability is determined by fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset, not by the date on your driver's license. Now let's get back to protein. Here's where most people fall short. Breakfast. Think about the typical morning meal. Toast, cereal, a muffin, a piece of fruit, and a coffee. Almost no protein at all, which means your body goes the whole first half of the day without the raw material it needs to protect your muscle. Fixing breakfast alone can be one of the single most powerful changes an older adult makes. Add eggs. Add Greek yogurt. Add cottage cheese. If you're so inclined, add steak. Add chicken fingers. There's no rules. Just add protein. Give your body something to build with first thing. Now, I have to say something here that goes against a lot of what you've been told. For decades, we were taught to fear some of the very best sources of proteins: red meat, eggs, whole dairy. Much of that fear traces back to the 1950s, to a theory about fat and heart disease that has never been proven. And it also goes back to food guidelines that turned nutrition into a list of good foods and bad foods. But nutrition, at its heart, is simple: water, calories, and protein. There's no bad food, only foods we've been taught to fear. Remember, food's not moral. And that fear has left a lot of good people protein starved and losing muscle they didn't have to lose. I've had so many clients tell me they eat healthy, and when we look closely, they're eating very little actual protein. Plenty of crackers, plenty of toast, plenty of well-intentioned salads with nothing substantial in them. They're not lazy. They're not careless. They're doing exactly what they were told. The problem was never their effort. The problem was the plan they were handed. We add protein to each meal, and often within weeks, the fog lifts. More energy, more strength, better recovery from their workouts. The raw material was all they were missing. This is the lie of age hiding inside our nutrition advice. We're told to shrink as we age, eat less, need less, expect less, as if the calendar were telling us to slowly fade out. But your body doesn't want to fade. It wants to be fed and used. Give it the raw material and the demand, and it will keep building decade after decade. Your strength, your resilience, your independence, all trace back to the same four things. You know what they are by now if you're a fan of the podcast: fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and the most important, mindset. All four 100% in your control from the cradle to the grave. Okay, here's your weekly challenge. Rebuild your breakfast. Just breakfast for 7 days. Add one real source of protein to your first meal of the day. And I mean a real source, not just something that has protein in it. 2 or 3 eggs, a bowl of Greek yogurt, a scoop of cottage cheese, a protein shake if that's easier. Pay attention to how you feel by mid-morning. Steady your energy, fewer cravings, a body that has what it needs to protect the muscle you work so hard to keep. Today we've discussed 3 things. First, that older adults need more protein, not less. And this is because we have fed it less leading up to that age. So we're kind of making up for lost time. Second, that spreading protein across every meal, especially breakfast, is just as important as the daily total. And third, that many of the foods we were taught to fear are exactly the foods that keep us strong. You were never meant to shrink with the years. You were meant to be fueled for them. And understanding the truth about protein, is just one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next time.